This table shows the number of domestic flights in the US from 2008 to 2012. We're going to write an equation that can be used to predict the number of flights if the number continues to decrease at the same rate, and the equations can be used to make a prediction for the number of flights in 2025. So, as usual, to write an equation in slope-intercept form, we need to know both the slope and the y-intercept. Normally, to find the slope, we just take the 2 points that we're given, but in this case, we're given way more than 2 points. This table actually has 5 coordinate pairs that we can take advantage of. We can pick any two that we want. It doesn't really matter which two we use. If I'm allowed to choose, I'm going to go maybe for the two that have the smallest numbers. So maybe these two at the bottom, the 8.65 and 8.44, seem pretty good. We can solve this problem using the years 2011 and 2012. That would be totally fine. We can also say, if we call this x and this y, we can say that our x is going to be years since, let's see, our first year is 2008. So let's just say since 2008, making this the y-intercept. That'd be a pretty clever way of doing it, making that the y-intercept. Um, but let's make things a little more difficult for ourselves. Let's say since 2005, just so we get some practice finding the y-intercept. Okay. If uh if I was really doing this, I'd probably say 2008 was the y-intercept. But let's go ahead and make it a little difficult just so we can get some practice in here. Let's say year since 2005, so we have to find the y-intercept. I know we're doing it the hard way, but let's practice. So, years since 2005. So, 2011 is 6 years since 2005. So I'm going to call this point 6, 8.65. And that means 2012 is going to be 7, 8.44. So those are going to be the 2 points that I'm going to use for my slope formula. And so we'll label the top one x1 and y1 and the bottom one x2 and y2. Again, it doesn't matter which one's x1, y1, and which one's x2, y2. You can flip these and you'll get the same answer. Doesn't matter. So 8.44 minus 8.65, and then on the bottom we have 7 minus 6. So 7 minus 6 is good news. That's just 1. So the slope is going to be whatever 8.44 minus 8.65 is. That's going to be a negative number. We know it's going to be a negative number because when we look at the flights are decreasing. And in this case, it's negative 0. Looks like 21. Okay, negative 0.21, that's our slope. So now we need to find our y-intercept. So we're going to go to y equals mx plus b. We're going to replace our m with our 0.21. So let's go ahead and erase the m and put 0.21 in there. And then we need an x and a y. It doesn't matter which one we use. We can use one of the two coordinates we picked, or we can use a coordinate that we didn't pick. It doesn't matter at all. I'm just going to use the 6 and 8.625 just because we've already got that one ready to go. So let's use x is 6 and y is 8.65. Okay, so we'll replace the x with 6 and we'll replace the y with 8.65. Like so. Okay, so I need to do 21 or 0.21 times 6. That's going to be 1.26. So we've got 8.65 equals 1.26 plus b. Subtraction property of equality on both sides. Okay. And this is going to tell us the y-intercept. Subtraction property of equality. Okay, let's see if I can do this without a calculator if I'm going to embarrass myself. Looks like 7.39. If you do it with a calculator and it's not 7.39, whatever you do, keep it to yourself. Do not tell me. Don't embarrass the math teacher. Okay, so there's our y-intercept. There's our slope. So we got y equals negative 0.21x plus 7.39. Oh, that is not good handwriting. Get it together, Taylor. There we go. Okay. So here's our equation we came up with. Now, what we're going to do is take that equation and use it to make a prediction. The prediction is to estimate the number of domestic flights in 2025. Now, our X, as you will recall, is years since 2005. So 2025 is going to be an X value of 20. And so we're going to take our equation and do y equals negative 0.21 times 20 plus 7.39. Man, I don't know if I can do that without a calculator or not. Let's just say I could do it without a calculator for sure, but I don't want to show off. That's definitely it. So 7.39, oops, 7.39 plus 20 times negative 0.21. I don't know why I did that backwards. 3.19. So y equals 3.19. So 3.19 is the numerical answer, but let's put it in context. Our y column was flights in millions, so we're going to say in 2025, I predict about, we always say about when we're predicting, about 3.19 million, what was this, domestic flights? I'm just going to say flights. It was domestic flights, but you get the idea. Okay, so we picked 2 points. We used the points to write an equation. We intentionally made the equation harder on ourselves so that we could practice finding y-intercept. It would have been smarter to use 2008 as our y-intercept, but we wanted to practice. And then once we had that equation, we used the equation to find a point in the future, 20 years past our start date, in this case, 2025, to make a prediction how many flights we would have after that many years.